Welcome back to the deep dive. Today we're asking a question that, it sounds almost philosophical at first.
Right.
Is water just a passive solvent? Or is it something more? A dynamic participant in life itself?
And that's the key question.
Because the standard view in science, it treats water as just the stage, the backdrop for all the chemical reactions.
A neutral medium.
Exactly. But the sources we're diving into today suggest we might need to completely overturn that assumption. We're looking at research that shows water is, well, highly structured and responsive.
And what's so fascinating is how the evidence converges from two wildly different fields.
Okay, let's break that down.
On one hand, you have the aesthetic, almost spiritual path. That's the work of Emoto, looking at consciousness and structure.
And on the other,
The hard biophysics. We're talking about Dr. Gerald Pollack and his research into a fourth phase of water. The two paths seem to point to the same place.
so let's start with the one that's, frankly, the most beautiful and maybe the most controversial. The idea that water is listening.
The crystallography of intention, as some call it. The Emoto hypothesis.
The images are just stunning. You expose water to positive concepts like love and gratitude, or even something like Beethoven's Fifth.
And you get these perfect, intricate, hexagonal crystals. Symmetrical. Beautiful.
But then you expose it to hateful language or aggressive music, and the structures it forms are chaotic, distorted, and fragmented.
Now, we should be clear. Emoto's original work was more art than science.
Not a lot of controls.
Very few. But the rigor came later. In triple-blind replication studies, water that was exposed to distant positive intentions, it consistently received higher scores for aesthetic appeal from judges who had no idea what they were looking at.
So it's not just in the eye of the beholder. There's a statistical signal there.
A very clear one. The p-value was 0.03. That means there was only a 3% chance the result was random. The influence seems to be real, even if objective metrics like, say, image contrast didn't always catch it.
And there's a really relatable proxy for this, right? The rice experiment.
Oh, yes. The one everyone tries at home.
You take 2 jars of cooked rice. On one, you label it gratitude, and on the other, worthless. And the reports are that the gratitude rice stays white for much, much longer.
While the other one turns black and putrid. It suggests that intention is somehow influencing the entire microbial environment.
Which is incredible.
Yeah.
But if intention can do that, what's the actual physical mechanism? How is this even possible?
And that is the billion-dollar question. This is where we need to connect the dots to Dr. Pollack's work, to his fourth phase of water.
The exclusion zone.
Exactly. Or EZ water. And this isn't your normal HO. The theory is that it's a different molecule altogether. It's a dense, structured layer that forms this sort of liquid crystalline lattice right next to water-loving surfaces.
Yeah, it's like a gel.
Kind of. And it's called the exclusion zone because it literally pushes out solutes. It excludes them. This creates a massive separation of charge.
How so?
The EZ layer itself becomes negatively charged, which makes the bulk water around it positively charged. It effectively acts as a tiny battery.
A celestial battery.
That's what he calls it. It stores electrical energy. And crucially, this whole structure is built and fueled by radiant energy, specifically infrared light.
Okay, wait. Here's where my mind is making the connection. If EZ water is a liquid crystal, then its structure would be inherently sensitive to vibrations, right? To electromagnetic fields.
Precisely. To sound, to words. The exact stimuli from the Emoto experiments. It provides a plausible physical mechanism for how intention could alter water's structure.
And that idea, that sensitivity, it connects to an even more radical concept, the memory of water.
This is where we look at the work of Nobel laureate Luc Montagnier. His digital biology hypothesis, it's out there.
Explain it for us. He found that DNA sequences actually emit their own electromagnetic signals.
Yes, and that these signals can be recorded, digitized, sent across the world, and then played into a container of pure, sterile water.
And the water,
Oh.
it remembers the signal.
It appears to. Here's the stunning part. After exposing the water to the signal, they added the basic building blocks of DNA and ran a PCR test.
Polymerase chain reaction, the process that amplifies DNA.
Right. And from that water, which never had any physical DNA in it, they were able to reconstruct the original DNA sequence with 98% fidelity.
How is that possible? It's like the water held the blueprint.
The water was the blueprint. It retained the information, which, of course, leads you to that ultimate question. Is water alive?
By the standard definition, metabolism, reproduction, no.
Of course not. But in this heterodox view, it shows what you might call active agency. It moves in response to light. It acts as an energy-storing matrix. It's an active participant.
So let's try to synthesize all of this.
Okay, think about a snowflake. We know its final shape, its morphology, is dictated entirely by the environment it travels through.
Temperature, humidity, pressure.
Right.
Yeah.
Now overlay that with the easy battery concept. Our internal environment, the words we use, the thoughts we think, the music we listen to, that environment is literally engineering the molecular structure of the water inside our own bodies.
So our body's water is acting like an information hard drive.
Yeah. The hard drive of the biosphere, you could say.
So then what does this all mean for you, the person listening? If your body is over 70% water, and that water is a receptive liquid crystal,
Highly sensitive to vibration and energy,
then things like positive affirmation aren't just some fluffy psychological trick. It's a literal physical reprogramming of your biological matrix. You are actively engineering your internal reality.
which leaves us with a final thought to mull over. If water, the literal foundation of all life we know, shows this kind of profound reactive intelligence, this ability to store information in response to light and intention, what does that imply about our definition of life itself?
And whether water might just be the most alive thing in the entire physical universe.